All right, everybody, welcome to the Transformative Reading Teachers Literacy Leadership Mentorship Group. This is our first kickoff meeting, and we really want to welcome all of you far and wide around the world to this group. This group is about mentorship, it's about community, it's about building our knowledge. And we're going to share more about what all of that is. And this is an opportunity for you to learn what this is about. So if you're not a part of it yet, you might really learn everything you need to know and choose to join the community this year. And we'll be so grateful. And for those of you who already joined, thank you so much. We have 3 of our mentees from last year who are going to share some thoughts today. We have 2 of our lead mentors speaking today. So with that, I'm just going to get rolling and share my PowerPoint. So give me 2 seconds to get that up and get my computer put on focus. I don't know how I did not do that. Oh, I know why. You know, the lawn aerator man came the moment I was going to let you all in the room, and then all the dogs went bonkers. Does anybody ever have that happen? It's called life, right? So let me pop this up for you. And Teresa and Terry, if you want to pop in and share anything, that's great too.
Well, probably just excited to see everyone here this morning or this afternoon, evening for some of you. I am always challenged by the time zones. So that always does kind of goof me up because Danielle and Terry and I meet and it always cracks me up. It's like we're meeting at 8, 9, and 10 o'clock in the morning. And, always worth a few giggles and laughs. Much like Danielle texting me and saying, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Tonight? What?" I had everything else on my calendar. She's got me loaded for the next, 3 months. But yeah, somehow Google did not talk to Outlook, did not talk to, again, it's the beginning and we're super excited to be here with you. And lots of great stuff going to be talked about throughout the next couple of months. I'm stoked.
So as it turns out, my Canva to PowerPoint transition is happening. So I will just let it act as it needs to act for right now, and hopefully it will load up. But let's just
I can do it over here.
Well, I think I have it coming up, Tara.
Okay.
So here it comes. It just takes a few minutes. Great. It's amazing. Now we're in business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be up in a second. Okay. Thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah, one would think I was lost between 5 screens, but really I'm just on a laptop, and I feel like I need 5 screens sometimes. So we are going to, I just popped up my chat box, making sure I have everything up. So this entire session is about what is mentorship. And in this opportunity, we are going to share some of who we are and why we love to do this and why we love you so much, and your real life experiences and what you're working through and grappling with in the field, your celebrations, and really being a part of the process of growth. And so this is really an opportunity to consider that all of the amazing privileges that come with relationship and deep thought and thinking with others and community. And so you've joined a network of leaders that will mentor you and support you. And if it's not Terry, Teresa, and I promise you, it'll be somebody in the group that'll also be there for you. We're putting our names and our phone numbers out there for you, our emails out there for you, because we actually want you to know that we're here for you. And for those of you who were with us last year, you know we're here for you, and we're grateful that you texted us. We're grateful that you dropped us emails and really gave us feedback all along the way about how we were meeting your needs, and we were paying attention to what was happening in real life in state departments and school districts, at national landscapes, because it matters that you feel like you're getting fed, and that's what's important to us. And so I want to talk about, I'm opening with a lesson today. I'm kind of obsessed with this idea, intentional relationships, and the power that they have. For all of you who've been to the Big Sky Literacy Summit, how many of you out there have been to the Big Sky Summit? Just give me a chat, and I'm scanning through everybody. You know, if you've been to the Big Sky Summit, and it looks like several of you have. What the Big Sky Literacy Summit started in 2021 for me, and really, I could never have done the Big Sky Literacy Summit without intentional relationships. And the people who started that work with me, I think some of you will know some of these names. One of them happens to be on this call right now, Teresa Owens. She's one of the mentors. Teresa's been with me since the beginning of my career. But the people who also participated in that first Big Sky Literacy Summit were Linda Farrell, Michael Hunter, Mary Dahlgren, okay, Susan Hall, the founder of 95% Group. Okay, those people were these close, dear, intentional relationships that Louisa Moats fostered as our mentor. Okay, Louisa was our mentor because we were all national letters trainers at one time, way long time ago. And they were really meaningful. And they really allowed me to ponder some questions that a gentleman named Mel Abraham, also a great mentor and teacher to me. He is on a growth day, actually, is the group that he works through to teach. And I know Terry and I listen to that a lot. And he asked 3 questions when we're thinking of the people that we want to hang out with and we want to spend our time growing with. And I then challenges us with 2 more, which this is new. Terry and Teresa have not seen this. This is just new, because this is how I roll. I was out running with the dogs today, and I was like, this is it. This is exactly like the journey. Like, think of all those intentional relationships that you have had throughout your life that have just changed your trajectory, that have up-leveled your decisions, that have challenged you and had held grace for you in the moments when you need to be thoughtfully sat with in a way that, you know, sometimes things just are hard. And life is hard. And both Teresa, Terry, my dear friends on this call, they have gone through some hard stuff recently. And it's just a real wonderful, humbling experience to just have friends that have your back, and a peer group that has your back, and that is going to love you through it, that's going to show up for you. These are real intentional relationships, and they're very, very meaningful in your heart and in your life. And so asking yourself, who am I around? I'm really grateful to do this teaching before I introduce the 2 people that I'm going to be spending a lot of time with, as are you, this year. And what effect are they having on me? And is that okay? I love these questions because, you know, one of the things that happens when I'm around Teresa is Teresa's just funny and she makes me laugh. And if you put Teresa on stage for an introduction, which I didn't this year, but in the past, she's introduced me. And somebody goes, you know what? You should just have her do the keynote. And at the end of the day, you're like, well, thanks. Did I really? They're like, no, we loved your keynote too. But we think she should do a keynote too. Because she's just genuine. She's funny. She's grown up in this work. She's spent decades in education. She's been crazy, she has crazy experiences in Bush, Alaska. That's where we started together. And then there's Terry. You know, who am I around? In the last year, I've spent a lot of time hanging out with Terry, and we stay in the same hotel room when we travel. We pretty much eat the same food. There's a synergistic, like, it's effortless. It's like fun. It's like, you just know you're just going to roll into something that is going to be enlightening and loving and kind and beautiful. And we go and train, and we raise the energy lid, and we just have so much fun together, and in a different way than Teresa and I have fun together. Like, I literally have this incredible energetic experience with both of them. And what does that tell me? In a good way, I feel good when I'm with them. They raise my expectation of myself. They challenge me. They have grace. They hold space for me. And they are willing to really push to see the vision through. And you want to have people around you that want to have that, hold that space for you, and to see that vision through with you. And so the last two questions that I think are so powerful. So these are the 5 things where, you know, that in this teaching I want you to think about is like, who am I around? What effect are they having on me? And is that okay? And then think about this. Where, do you want to be, and who do you need to be to get there? So where do you want to be, and who do you need to be to get there? Oh, those are good, aren't those? Those are so good. So that's why you're in mentorship, because you just chose to join a group of people because you want to be somewhere. You're going somewhere. You know that either you're a classroom teacher, and you really are in a space where you're up-leveling your knowledge, you're learning new content, you're learning to maybe teach a new grade level this year. I know Kim out there is, for sure. She's gone from 4-year-olds to 3rd grade. That's a big jump. And it's a big curricular jump. It's a big attentional jump. It's a lot of things. And so who do you want to be when you show up in that classroom? Or who do you want to be if you're an interventionist, or if you're a coach, or if you're the principal, or if you're the superintendent, or if you're the curriculum instruction director, or you're at a state department? Wherever you're at, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be after this is all over? And who do you need to be to get there? So now, I continuously go back to the idea of coming off of an event where, you know, 650 people gathered from 4 countries and 50 states. And I'm like, who did I need to be to get there? And I thought about the decades of work I'd put in intentional relationships. The fact that Hugh Katz and Tiffany Hogan and Julie Washington and, you know, all these amazing, beautiful humans are really my friends. They're really my friends. They're researchers in the field, but they're really my friends. And who did I need to be to get to where I was? I first needed to be authentic, loving, kind, and show up for people. And I needed to value them, because I wanted to be a person of significance, but you can't be a person of significance if you're just one person. And I wanted to touch the future of humanity in a way that I could change lives for children for the betterment of humanity. And that was going to take a lot of people. That was going to take a lot of people. And so now, after I created that vision about a decade ago, to know that everything that I have at this moment in my life has come because I've been very intentional about the people I keep around me, and really understanding what effect they have on my life and how they help me be a better person, how they help me feel more joy in my life, how they push me, challenge me, hold space for me. And they really challenge me to see my vision. Where do I want to be? I want to be a transformational, uplifting, inspired leader, educator, and healer, adding value to those I serve through love and literacy, so that we can uplift and change the future for the betterment of humanity. Now, That's where I want to be. And that's pretty vague because that's a vision. But the mission is doing the work with you and showing up in this space with you. And showing up and hearing your direct messages and responding and taking feedback and growing, because, you know, who do I need to be to get there? I have to study to be in this position. I have to have done the work. I have to have been challenged. I have to have fallen on my face. I have to have also felt the success of what school transformation, what personal transformation, what classroom transformation. You know what, let's just be honest, like small group transformation sometimes, like one-on-one transformation with the child, one-on-one with a leader, positional, like if I'm in my first time leading, you know, really, who do I need to be to get to where I want to go? I don't want to be a positional leader anymore. I want to be a transformational leader. And a transformational leader has intentional relationships that hold so much potential. And so with that, I am introducing you to two amazing transformational leaders and mentors. I'm very grateful for them. Now you've heard about them. And Terry Nolan is coming to us live out of actually Fort Worth in a fifth wheel trailer right now because her daughter delivered a baby a little bit too early. And Terry's being an amazing mom. She's an amazing wife. She is an amazing teacher, and she's a mentor to us all. And so I'm very grateful, and with just so much love in my heart, to introduce you to Terry Nolan. And Terry, you want to share some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. You make me get, oh my goodness. Danielle and I, one moment at the summit, it was Sunday morning, we just kind of hugged each other and just, you know, there wasn't words because the intentionality of the relationships. The people that are in this room, that are in this group, these are the people that are going to get us to where we want to be. These are the people that are going to change this world. I believe it wholeheartedly because I believe that now I am a faith-based person and that there is divinity in all of this work that we are doing. This is not on accident. There is a reason why we are doing this work to get together and the intentionality of those relationships. Many of you that were at the summit, my daughter introduced me, and she at that time 23 weeks pregnant, way too early to have a baby. We came home from the summit. She started school, and then a few days later went into labor. We've got a 1 pound a baby girl in the NICU. So my life changed. And the morning that my life changed, that Kenzie's life changed, that morning, I knew who I needed to call. First and foremost, I needed to call my mom. So I called my mom and my dad. I called them. I called my dear friends. I called a church leader. I called Danielle. That's who I needed to call because that's the intentionality of the relationship, because this is bigger than us just going to work every single day. And guess what else happened that morning? Because of intentionality of relationship, Teresa texted me that morning and said, "Hey, give me Kenzie's email address. I got to follow up with her." And I said, "Well, Teresa, we got a little hiccup in the road, and it's going to take us about 4 months to get out of this hiccup." And Teresa changed her life around because of the intentionality of the relationship to bring healing prayer to our situation. So this intentionality of relationship is, I can't even describe it. Y'all know what I mean. Do you know? Patrick Lencioni talks about the universal ping. The universal ping. Do you ever have those moments where you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, I haven't talked to Brittany in a long time. I'm just going to send her a little message. And the minute you send Brittany a little message, guess what Brittany does back? "Oh my goodness, I was thinking about you too." See, this is what happens in this mentorship group, and I am so thrilled. And it's not just between mentors and mentees. It is between mentees and mentees. Like, it is between all of us. And so there's so much power in what we've got going here, and I can't wait to see the trajectory of this year. And so with that, Teresa.
Well, let me say a few more words about Teresa and Terry. Thank you so much. And I'm laughing, y'all. I realized I don't have my school years quite right, and or the dates. This is not 23-24. It's 24-25. FYI, just so you know. And so to roll into intentional relationships and that real synchronicity of our lives, Teresa Owens, I showed up at my first all district training in the Kenai Peninsula of Alaska. It's the size of Wisconsin. The school district is. Everything in Alaska is gigantic. And so we had to drive like an hour and 15 minutes down the road to actually go to the training, in all district training. And actually that year I lived in the woods in the middle of nowhere. And that's also Alaska for you. But and Teresa lived a little further north in the middle of those. No, she lived in Kenai at that time. And long and the short of it is I kind of I'm a busybody at a training, and I ended up in the back. And so was Teresa. Teresa and I met in the back of the very first all school district training. And it was about special education. Okay, so I'm a speech language pathologist first and foremost. Teresa was going to be working in the intensive needs classroom. And that was our first moment of synchronicity and just really deep gratitude for that moment, because Teresa went on to be a step-in interim special ed director. When I was, she's the first interim special ed director that has ever written me and said, so how about that 3-year IEP? Did you think you were going to get that one done soon? And I looked on my calendar and I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot an IEP, not an IEP, I forgot a 3-year eval. And I'll never forget like how much grace she would handle things with, and how much kindness, and I soon was spending my Thanksgivings at their house. Her husband, John, as well, went on to be a superintendent, and they kind of took me wherever they went in Alaska as a speech language pathologist. And I am forever grateful for that mentorship. She was truly a mentor of mine. And so it's fun to have a mentor be a mentor to you in this experience. So with that, Teresa Owens, you want to share a little bit with us?
Sure. As Danielle always points out, I'm kind of the comedian of the group, and I will never forget the time that Danielle and I were asked to present at a state conference together. And after we finished presenting at the conference, number one, we were sold out. I mean, we did a couple different sessions, and they put us in a teeny tiny room, and pretty soon they had to move us to another space because we were popular, because we were fun and we knew what we were doing. But at the very end, this gal comes up to us and she says, oh my gosh, and she's just falling all over Danielle. You are amazing. You're so smart and bright and talented, and gosh, you know all your stuff. And then she looks at me and she says, and you remind me of Carol Burnett. And I was like, yeah, baby, that's what we need. And then I think of that because last night when Danielle was sending these slides to us, I think my head looks ginormous in this picture. It's like she photoshopped my head onto a small body. I don't know what happened. So, dude, we got to fix the picture, man, because whoa. But anyway, it has been a treat getting to know Danielle and watch her grow and develop. And the thing about Danielle that inspires me, she says I mentored her, and I did early on, but we have kind of changed in that experience. We have our relationship has grown significantly and developed into a different kind of more collegial, but also there's times that Danielle has just blown my mind with things that I need to hear and grow. And when I was a school principal, some of the things that she was doing, she brought a few colleagues to come and do research at the elementary school that I was at. And actually, Rachel Gott came and did some of her doctoral work. If you're in Montana, you certainly know who she is. But I think the thing about this kind of a group that I love is we are here to support you. You are here to support each other, But the other piece to that is without this body, without this group, Danielle's vision that she so eloquently shared with us does not come to fruition, because this is a part of that vision that she has for changing the world, for children, and for literacy. And so without all of us in this group, and then without all of us, this will be my pitch, my commercial, without all of us sharing this with somebody else that you're like, I think somebody could use this. I'm going to share it into the districts that I've worked in before and say, hey, this would be a great group for you to join. I'm going to share it with teachers. I'm going to share it with administrators. But I think this body needs to get bigger. And 40 people is a pretty great start. But I think there are more people that you work with that you feel like, oh, somebody else needs to be taking this. And Danielle is right. We are the people that I give you my phone number. I tell people, text me, call me, always text me first, because I don't pick up numbers I don't know. But we are here for you. And I may not get to you right in the moment. I will if I can. But just know that we are definitely here to help you, coach you. And I've been a principal. I've been a district office administrator. I've been a teacher. I haven't been a coach in the true sense of the word, but I've been put in the position of coaching a lot of people. So I understand that role as well. But one of the things that I bring is I bring that day-to-day experience. I did it, been there, done that. I bet you there's not a scenario that you could bring up to me that I have not seen or experienced personally. And so I can be your objective ear. If you're an administrator, my husband's a superintendent. So there's times when I've worked in consulting and I've been in Montana, and I'm like, I don't know the answer to that one, but I know somebody that might. And so my husband just gets to come along. He's like the free ride, where I get to beg and borrow his knowledge. But we're here for you. And I don't report to anybody. I might bend Danielle's ear on something. I might talk to my husband. But if there's something that you're like, I really need to talk to somebody about this, and I need an objective ear that isn't obligated to say something to the State Department or whatever, I'm your girl. So holler at me, and I'm happy to help you with that. I see Terry's nodding her head too, because she's certainly been there and seen it all as well. Anyway, it is a treat to be here. And I woke up this morning thinking about Monday morning motivations and that, Danielle, and I was like, I wonder if I could wear my cowboy hat for one. And I wonder if I could go, take myself on the road somewhere and do something. So I see her nodding. She already introduced me as the comedian. So I think for my motivations, get ready. We're going to be fired up. All right, my love. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I'm all of a sudden I was thinking of you at Creekside Elementary dressed up as Bam Bam and in your in your
I don't know that I'll go caveman on you guys, but who knows? I might.
Yeah. So with that, I'm gonna have to get Terry take over what this slide's all about, and then we're gonna move into hearing from Vicki and Kevin and Brittany for just a few minutes about what that mentorship and coaching meant to them. So go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, so we really like to provide distinction and provide clarity too about what this year is like with mentorship. Mentorship, one of the best definitions I've ever heard of mentorship is that when somebody has traveled the journey and then they loan you their map. That was just so profound. It was so beautiful. And so it's somebody that's done it. Like we've taught, oh my goodness, I've taught the hard kids to read. I've done that. I've worked with school leaders. I've been in a position of administration. And I've been there. Have I been a state DOE person? No, I haven't. But guess what? Many of the same the same things that you're going through, that same journey of what we are trying to achieve with literacy transformation, is that we know what it takes no matter the role that you hold. So that's what mentorship is. And I'll say too, Danielle, Teresa, myself, the other mentors that we're bringing along, sometimes we don't have the answers. One of the things that I valued so much about the last day of the summit, the Language is Everything Day, is that all of these profound researchers stood up there and said, yeah, we don't know. Yeah, because that it's a profound moment, because you think, oh my goodness, you've done it all. You've written papers. You've done all these things. You know it all. No, mentorship is about saying, okay, let's help you on this journey and loan you a map of the trials and obstacles that you have, versus like if you wanted a true coaching relationship is like, you've got a, we get in there and help you lift yourself out of kind of the muck and the mire. Not saying we won't do those things, but coaching is like, we get one-on-one and really dig into, a lot of the muck and the mire. One of the values of coming into this moment is on Wednesdays, when we do our Wednesday wisdoms, we'll do a short teaching, maybe 15 minutes. And then we open it up and you learn from one another. Remember, so many of you have taken the journey and you're loaning your map out to others. So we like to lift your voices and make you, have you share your wisdom as well. So one of the things that I want to mention about mentorship is, many of you have joined, some of you are considering joining, is, the greatest project that you'll ever work on in your life. We've worked on a lot of projects, but the greatest project that you'll ever work on in your life is yourself. And that's what this is about. It's a year-long journey of working on yourself. I'm the project. And, that's powerful when we think about it this way. So you're going to be places that you never imagined at the end of this year. In fact, we're going to hear from some of the mentees that were in the program last year, because we want to hear where they started and where they ended up and what mentorship meant to them.
That's right, Terry. And I see some faces out there, that I think in the beginning, I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin stood up at the end of the Big Sky Literacy Summit last year after Tracy Whedon had us in, a moment of emotion, and Kevin kind of brought us to tears, and then he joined our mentorship group, and he's from a northern space in Canada. And, I personally would love to work in Canada every now and then. I love the Great North. I lived in Alaska for quite some time, and so did Teresa. But the Canadian systems are different, and just the knowledge, the equipping of educators, everything about the systems are a little bit different than ours. And so Kevin helped mentor us a little bit last year as well. But in that process, he gained mentorship through this work. And so Kevin, can you tell us, briefly your journey through mentorship and what it's meant for you?
Yeah, Nell, I'm very happy to share. And thanks for mentioning, I guess 2 Big Sky Summits ago. Dr. Tracy Whedon asked me to share, and it's very personal, and the personal connection to all of that is continuing, and so I'm extending that with my I guess reflections today. But yeah, what this community has meant to me, I think I've reflected on that a little bit, and I kind of narrowed down to three big things for me. There's more, but 3 big things. This community mentorship group is a place where I can belong and I can connect with others. For a long time, I was on this literacy journey, and I totally felt like I was on my own. Like, okay, what PD session is good for this? What's good for that? And it was very hit and miss. And some was good, some was not as good, and some was, frankly, maybe I'll call it misleading. And so for me, this mentorship group really and truly is energizing for me, that I get to be connected to a community. And when I leave the session, I feel encouraged and I feel filled, I guess, and just motivated to keep going. A second thing for me is I just love the opportunity to continue this literacy learning journey in a way that stretches me in my thinking. It makes me reflect on how I can use this enhanced knowledge that I'm receiving through this dialogue, and to, you know what, to extend it to others, to help build and help stretch others. That is something that I find a lot of joy in the job that I do as an educator, just really helping others along in that journey. And so this is a community of giving that helps me to continue in that giving to those around me. And I think the third thing that I really appreciate about this group is that each week I get to be immersed in ongoing dialogue and continue in the language of literacy. I haven't experienced that a whole lot, where an hour is committed to this language. And so that's really neat for me. Most of my daily interactions, and I think maybe it's true for a lot of us, aren't necessarily focused on literacy, but these ones are. And I love to just soak it all in. I love the 3 days of Big Sky Literacy Summit, just soaking it all in. I try to always get a front seat so I can soak in a little quicker as I'm closer to the front. I think this is helping me to be able to articulate to my colleagues what I am absorbing personally. And so, yeah, this is a personal continuation of my literacy learning journey, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Can you share with everybody what position you were last year and what you're doing this year?
Yes. Well, to back up a tiny bit further, my first 21 years were in grades 1, 2, and 3. And then I moved to the high school 2 years ago, and I taught an English course, and I was literacy coach. And then in the spring, I had an interview, and I'm going to give a lot of credit here actually to this mentorship group. But you know, a lot of the questions I was answering with confidence because, like, well, literacy this, literacy that, and I want to you know, not raise to the level of my goals, but I want to raise the level of the system so that everybody benefits. And this group taught me that. And so I was offered the position of assistant principal. So I'm starting my career in administration. I'm so excited, also terrified, but no, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, Teresa, you might get a phone call or two.
I love it.
Kevin, I was remembering you from some of the mentoring things last year, and you always just kind of inspired me because it really was like you were a sponge soaking it all in, and then at the end you always had something like, okay, now I'm going to go do this. So I am thrilled that you have picked up the mantle of some administration, and I would love to chat with you whenever you would like.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And I am really grateful for a comment. I know Terry threw some thoughts down in the chat box too, but Kevin, you said something that it's a community of giving, and that's a really powerful phrase, and I'm loving it. So thank you. This is a community of giving, and it's true. That's what we show up to do and add value to your lives. But we're not the only ones giving. Everybody's giving. And that's why we're going to throw the baton to Brittany next, also a mentee last year, who is in a coaching position at a school that she had long wanted to work at, yet didn't understand exactly the paradigms she was stepping into last year. And she had a lot of paradigmatic shifting to do before bringing in evidence-based practices. And so the mentorship group spoke to her in different ways. So I'll let her take over and share with you what her journey was like.
Hello. So I looked so forward every day to coming into the Monday motivationals and the Wednesday wisdom. I knew my mind was going to be blown with research-based knowledge, but the inspiration and love that I felt coming off of those sessions, it allowed me to think about the vision that I needed to share with all of the teachers and get my vision personally thought out correctly, and then lead the teachers in developing a vision for the school. So I know that Terry was talking about like leading ourselves, and that Brendan Bouchard, the guiding questions I used every day. Let me find the piece of paper that I used. Guiding questions to start your day, and this kept me very intentional, and I was able to think about what I needed to do to be on my A game. And I knew these questions were going to be coming, and teachers had a lot of questions. The admin had a lot of questions. They were just balanced literacy all the way for decades and decades. And I'm changing their curriculum. I'm changing the way they're thinking about literacy and showing up for students and families. And it was just such a close-knit school, and in so many ways lovely. And I didn't want them to feel that any of that was being challenged. We were just looking at literacy differently. So coming in to these sessions were just so inspiring, and I would find myself poring over the sessions that I would go back and listen, and I would take notes and study. And then when I was being approached with questions or presenting to the community, I would start hearing Dr. Nell and Dr. Nolan and all the mentors' voices in my head. And it was just exciting that, oh, this is really great, and I'm loving this, and I'm feeling more confident in my role and where we were heading. And it encouraged me to reach out into the community to raise money, to get Nell to come to the school and present, and reach out and raise money for Language Screen, and get these things put into place for our students and our families. So, and I also feel the ripple effect with the relationship. And even in my own family, we had my father-in-law passed away right before Big Sky, and we were just at a very low point. And Dr. Nell arranged some very special opportunities for us to meet John Maxwell and have just a day. And my husband ended up quoting John Maxwell at his dad's funeral. And so I just know that it was just perfect, and that I'm so grateful for that. And I know he is, and he's reading the books, and I got my children the books, and just growing as a person in all areas, not just literacy leadership, is what I love about this as well. So I'm so grateful, and thank you.
Wow, making me all misty-eyed here. Thank you so much. What an honor to share this journey with you, Brittany and Kevin. I know that your stories are helping others understand that mentorship is about your personal growth, and we are here to help you wherever you're at, and wherever you're starting, and also to add some extra joy to your lives. One of the things I didn't teach in the peer group piece was that, take some time to really think about the people that are around you and adding value to their lives. And one of the things that, I know Terry, Teresa, and I all try to do in this work is really just when you get the ping and it's like, just do this. It's pretty profound what happens. And so that's how that moment with John Maxwell and Brittany and her husband happened. And I'm so grateful that it has caused for ripple effects and added more love and light to your family journey. And what an honor. So thank you. Our last friend out there is Vicky. Are you out there? I didn't even look to see if you're out there.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, yay. Now, Vicky, I read that email you were sent once right after Big Sky, and then I read it again just before today. And now Vicky's working at the Minnesota, do call it Department of Ed. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
And, when I first met you, your energy was in a totally different place than where it is today. There's so much more freedom and more, I'm going to say hope, or more, I don't know what it is, but that email you shared, it just like, that's kind of, I can't wait for you to share some of that with everybody, because you're the one who had to take action, but you had to rise into that space of knowing when to follow, as Terry just put it into our chat box, the universal ping, like this is what I have to do now, and this is what I have to do, these are the people I need to meet, and there's the next person I need to meet. So I'm going to hand it over to you, because you've done a great job at listening to that universal ping and knowing exactly which people, when and where, and how you make that law of timing and the law of proximity and all of that stuff come together. So I'd love to hear your perspective on this.
So I'm Vicki Weinberg, and I got a chance to go to Big Sky last year. And when I first met this group, as Nell said, I was in a rough spot. I had to unwind everything I'd put in place when I started at the Department of Ed. So we were changing our LD criteria, and changing structured literacy at the same time. And in some meetings, I was asked, "You're special ed. What do you have to do with literacy? Why are you even here?" And in other meetings, I was challenged to do better. When is the state going to quit hurting our kids? And everybody wanted something different out of that meeting. So I arrived at Big Sky knowing the people I needed to talk to. How are we going to update 17 years worth of research practice? And what are the most important things? And how do we not get ahead of 50,000 teachers in our state? So I showed up there. I left Big Sky really inspired with a list of people I needed to contact. And then my father went into hospice and passed away. And in the same month, my mom had a series of strokes. And I had started all this work and had to manage from a distance kind of this change in these stakeholder groups, as well as kind of manage self and family. And there were times last year we were coming back and working at the grassroots level with 4 districts and 7 schools, helping support those schools, jumping over to do criteria work. And Tuesdays kept me sane. And we made some really great progress in one of our biggest districts. And in January, due to the ERA funds ending, that district cut all of the interventionists in the district, which means all of the policy work I was supposed to do was not going to be in place for one of our largest districts. And I showed up to that meeting practically in tears. And Nell had this perfect message. And the message was like, "I'm leadership sad today." And I was like, that is the most Minnesota way to say what I'm feeling right now, because I'm barely keeping it together. And she's like, "Here's the definition of leadership sad." And I have maintained that as a point of like understanding and also somewhat humor to kind of get through the moments that are really, really hard. And fast forward to kind of where we were at the end and before Big Sky, we finished our policy groups and presented our findings and our proposed new criteria, and not a peep of criticism, which is like, how does that happen? Everybody has an opinion about pizza. And when you talk about how you identify kids, everybody's got strong feelings. But because of the humility, because of the relationships, and because of the thoroughness, I've been able to make connections with researchers through this work. We have created a coalition of people who are willing to kind of go along and when we know better, do better. So not only has the mentorship helped me professionally kind of navigate this massive change for our practitioners, it's helped me kind of personally make through some of those connections. So the mentorship, and I don't even know if they knew all of these things, it helped me kind of stay present, because there were many times last year when I think I'm done. I don't think I need to be here anymore. People don't think I'm adding value. Other people think that I'm too old and I'm not on the right page anymore. So I need to just show them that we can reinvent how we do this. And I think the mentors have given me courage and buoyed me up. I think Terry's really good at going, "We got to buoy you up to stay in the work." So, and some of those are the messages we gave to some of our directors when they were starting their own grieving process of, we have to stop doing things we've really believed in. I'm like, yep, I've spent the last year. You didn't see it, but it's possible to survive that. So I think it's been a really good journey, and I'm looking forward to another year.
Well, thank you. It's so important to celebrate these three. So everybody, if you can just put your hands up and, just show them your gratitude, like they're amazing stories, and they've changed. They choose. They've made these choices. They have chosen to show up. They've chosen to take action. They've risen into the space of knowing that if you can do better, it's one step away. And I always like this James Allen quote, the greatest part about life is that you have to deeply understand that you don't have to be who you were 5 minutes ago. Okay? You don't have to be who you were 5 minutes ago. You get to change, you get to grow. And in this group, that's what we're really all about. And I also just wanted to put this out here for you. What you're going to have access to, and I want to show you quick the platform. So for all of you who are new, and also for all of you who were part of it last year, I revamped the platform, so you have all of the content from last year. It's just stored in a different way. So this year you have access to 3 lead mentors, and you've met us all on this call. And the scientific experts that have said yes already are Tiffany Hogan and Tim Odegaard right off the bat. I really want to dig into the topic of implementation. We talk, this is about literacy, leadership, mentorship, and there's a huge 2 parts to that. One's literacy, the other one's leadership. And how do you lead literacy transformation? That's taking a lot of knowledge and bandwidth around implementation. And so we had Tiffany kick off the Big Sky Literacy Summit with Yaakov Petcher on assessment. And all of these mentors are like, yeah, I'm down with sharing with the mentorship group. And those of you who joined last year, we had Charles Hume join, Jack Fletcher via video, and Hugh Katz. But really, we have a lot of opportunity to grow with the experts in the sciences, and that will take us beyond just reading. Okay, so our ultimate goal is to give you unique insights into the content through a literacy leadership lens. It's not a lens specific to what is the science of reading. It's saying, how do you lead this work? What are the challenges you're going to run into? What are the things you have to know? What are the leadership qualities you have to have? And you'll learn a lot right away from Teresa in the beginning, because our first content focus area is really on leadership. Like what really are we talking about? And it's always really good to fine tune that. Even I love to just dive back in and think about, like, what is it that I need to get better at? Because we need to focus on those things so we can grow ourselves. So we'll do weekly lessons. That's important. We're going to keep it on Wednesdays this year for those who've been a part of it. It won't change. That piece won't. We probed several people in the audience, and there are those who are like, oh yeah, noon would be great. But the teacher, that's not a great time. The principal of an elementary school, usually not a great time. But those who have nice lunch hours, it's a great time. So it's like we might, in the future, if we have lots and lots of mentees, we might end up doing tracks where, like, Terry Nolan will always be at noon on Tuesdays, Danielle Thompson will always be at 4 on Wednesdays. So we'll just do different mentorship tracks. But right now we're keeping it at 4 o'clock. That is Central Time, 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesdays. So you'll always have this. Our goal is to not teach really longer than 30 minutes. However, we might teach an hour, and we might stay on for an hour and a half. We're not real obsessed with time boundaries. We're obsessed with meeting your needs. And so some teachings will be short, and some teachings will be longer. And then the goal is that we focus on a topic area for a month, and then we switch the topic areas. And you'll see that when I show you the platform, what that looks like. It's recorded. So like, I give Audrey Paquette out there a big shout out in Canada. She joined us late in the season, and she listened to the content over summer. Like, she listened to all the recordings. And so, you know, if you're a leader out there that is already wanting to understand how to give better feedback, we have a whole month allocated to giving feedback. So you can jump in and listen to what the mentors taught about feedback last year. So that's part of your series, is that you get to have the content from the previous years, even if you weren't part of that. You just, you'll get the live content as well. And the one thing I loved last year is that anybody that's in mentorship gets a 2-week pre-summit launch. You get to think about the summit, how to plan for the summit, and you can buy your seat early. That matters because we had hundreds on the waiting list last year. So that is one of the perks we give you in this mentorship group as well. And then there are lots of little surprises and delights along the way. We just, you know, we're like, oh, wow, this person wants to get on. Sure, let's have them come join us. That's how Charles Hume ended up joining us one night. So that's what we do for you. We'll just bring you what we think might be of interest and helpful. Now, this is important. Thanks, Terry, for making sure all this was on there. Our meetings will always be on Zoom, and that link will always be the same. And we have something called the Kajabi community. And the reason the images are important is because those are what the apps look like in any Android or Apple store to actually go get them. They're free, but if you get them, they're apps that you can have on your computer. So you can have the community app, and you can have the actual class app, which is just Kajabi, which is where Monday Motivations and Wednesday Wisdoms will be. I have toggled with going live within the Kajabi platform. That is an option we have this year, but if I do that, I'll let you know. So there, just to be clear, we'll be live on Zoom once a week on Wednesdays. You'll do chatting in the community, which is a different app. Then the recordings will all be stored in the Kajabi app. And that's where we're going to just take a look at it right now, so you can see what this looks like. So give me 2 seconds. And Teresa or Tara, if you want to add anything while I bring this up, go ahead.
Well, I was just grabbing my phone and downloading my communities, so I can be one of those people to say it's a no-brainer. I found the communities. I did not yet have that on my phone or computer, but yeah, I enjoy seeing the chats that people are doing and putting in things, and I appreciate what Victoria finished with the line, "It is tough unlearning things you grew up knowing." And thank heavens there is a map. And yeah, we're kind of here to point you the way, get you the compass, and then turn you loose.
Thanks, Teresa. So one of the things I want to point out is that I'm just going to go back to my library here and show you that at the top of this, you can see it says the transformativereadingteacher.com/library. Now, if you've accepted your admittance into the group, you should be able to go to that address, the transformativereadingteacher.com/library, and then you can come in and log in. It will ask you to log in, and I'm already signed in, and it will show up as your library. And these are all of my products. And I am over here on page 3, my library. You were first admitted into the Literacy Leadership Mentorship series when you purchased earlier, and it looked like that. Now you are in this one. So this is the one you want to go to. And I say view the product. And now this is what it will look like on your desktop. It will also populate on your Android or your iPhone, whatever device you have. If you want to start listening and learning immediately, you just drop into the 23-24 content, and you can see that the 23-24 content is segmented by domain. So this is literacy leadership. That was section 1. Section 2 is moving towards a collective vision of literacy transformation. And then we move into section 3, and database decision making, and all those talks are stored. And so let's just take, one with, we'll go into MTSS, the history and the promise of MTSS. You click into it and you get to see that there's the video. All of the classes that are within MTSS are right there on the toggle. So you can just listen to one after the next on MTSS. Any handouts that we give you, for example, I'm going to go back to the handout from December that Brittany related to. And I think it's in here. There's the holiday surprise with language. I might not find it, but let's just go to Charles Hume. And I believe Charles Hume gave us handouts. And so you see on the side there, there's a handout that he gave us. And then his session is right here. And that should help you navigate the course. So when we say go into the course platform to listen to anything, that's where your Monday motivation is going to be stored. That's where any recordings are going to be stored, so you can feel like, oh, I know exactly where I'm going. Okay, so that's important. Does anybody have any questions around that? Just unmute and talk to me if you do. None? That's nice. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Deanna. I have one question. If I was in the group last year, do I re-register again for this year? How does that work?
Yep. And so this year, you would have gotten emails to say register with this. We have a coupon to get you a discount through the 30th of August. So we'll get to that piece, and we'll make sure that when you get to the end, I'll send you out an email and make sure the link is there. But we also have a QR code you can quick scan and go and register. So if you haven't registered for the 24-25, you will not have access to the 24-25 option. And early registration also gets you into the High Road Leadership book study. Okay, so that's important as well. So these are the first dates, everybody, just to help you out there so you can mark your calendars. It's pretty straightforward. I didn't put times. Monday Motivation gets posted by 7 a.m. on Mondays, Central Time, actually Mountain Time usually, because I'm a Mountain Time girl. I usually try to post them the night before, but Wednesday Wisdom, so those are recorded and sometimes they're live. Sometimes I go live on a Monday morning. Teresa she likes early mornings, but that's really 5 o'clock her time, so probably not. And Wednesday Wisdom is the 4 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 2 o'clock Pacific Time, and those will be our first ones that we'll be doing. Okay, and so this is just logistics, and I want to make sure you, for those of you who are not on, we're talking about something that gives you incredible mentors at a very, very low price with an incredible value. You get to hear live content every week. You get to talk to live people every week. And we are not doing canned content. This is not, we don't have a PowerPoint presentations that we're just doing. This is always, the mentors create the content for the specific flow of content we are seeing that people are needing. We're very organic with what seems to be happening in the educational world around us and what's happening in the schools we're serving, because we all also work in schools and with children. So just to be very honest about that, we know that this kind of value add is pretty powerful. So this is only through the 30th though. So Teresa or Terry, you want to add anything to that? Good. Okay. All right. So the next piece is, this part is powerful. If you were at the Big Sky Literacy Summit, you got to be a part of what was called Transformation Day. And on Transformation Day, we had the world's greatest of all time leadership teacher, mentor, John Maxwell. And John taught for 3 hours. And if you did VIP, he answered some questions. What we're going to be doing on this day, which I think is, sorry, these days, it's 3 months of studying high road leadership. And we also have a live talks with John Maxwell, because Terry and I are officially we have the content with John Maxwell teaching lessons from each one of his chapters. So not only do you get us teaching and pondering the thoughts that we learn within each chapter for 3 months, we're going to actually share with you John Maxwell's work, and we're also going to, we have this participant guide for the book study, and this will last all the way through right before Thanksgiving. The celebration right before Thanksgiving will happen on the 26th. I'm pretty excited about this. This is going to be amazing. I have not read the whole book purposely. I wanted to like just be in the flow of doing the work. I've read a ton of it, but I didn't dig into it in a book study yet. So I'm very excited to dig in with Teresa and Terry and all of you to do this book study. So if you are registered and you are getting registered by August 30th, you automatically get to be a part of the High Road Leadership book study. And so we hope that you come and join us for that. And
I do have to say something about that one though.
Please do.
Because you know, John's not an educator. John writes for all industries, for the medical field, for the entertainment field, for the business world. John, his whole thing is not just education focused. What we are doing with this participant guide, with this study, and I don't know if you see it on there, we are doing the High Road Leadership book, but we're doing it the literacy transformation way. And what we mean by that is we take the content of the book and then apply it to scenarios and case examples and what this means for literacy transformation in your schools. So I was kind of digging into this today, and like I got in the flow and almost didn't want to go to my next thing I had to do was tutor kids. So I had to look up and go tutor kids.
I love it, Terry. I'm so grateful that you brought that up, because I think what's also important is to remind everybody that if you're part of this, we want you to stand on our shoulders. Like, this is recorded stuff. We want you to share it with other people. So we will keep I will make another class for the book study, and then we'll have 12 sessions recorded for the book study. So if there's something like you're like, oh my gosh, Terry Nolan just knocked it out of the park in this 5-minute segment, and I want to put it into a staff meeting, we want you to. That's exactly what John has taught us. Like, you know, give us credit the first time, and then once you figure it out and you're doing it and you're taking the action, you need to take the credit because you're doing the work. And that's really what this is about. It's not about us. It's about you succeeding for the sake of the betterment of humanity, for the children you serve, the communities that you're in. And that's what this is really meaningful. That's where this gets really meaningful, is we want this work to be present in your lives. And so thanks, Terry. That's awesome. And that's it.
Danielle, you have a question from Julie, just wondering how she'll access the Zoom links for the book study. Is that?
So Julie, if you registered already and you were already on the, you would have been on my registration list. I would have sent you an email last night for the first 4 book studies Zoom links. And if you did not get those first 4 book studies, it means that you probably registered or you haven't registered, and therefore I didn't have your email in time. So you will have to send me a note. And I'm going to put my email in here for you. It's Dr. Nell at transformativereadingteacher.com. It's the same email I write you from. I don't do this group with MailChimp, but in the future, because you guys are all trusted attendees, I can send you emails in my personal account, not my personal business account. But in the future, mailings will come through MailChimp. But so for now, let me just check it. The Transformative Reading Teacher, that's my email. If you didn't get into the book study and you know you paid for it, and or there's a confusion, just write me a personal email and I'll try to figure it out. Okay. Any other questions that I'm missing?
I don't believe so, Danielle.
Thank you,
I'm
Teresa.
tracking them.
I appreciate it. So that QR code, if you're out there with your phone, you can link that. If you haven't signed up yet, that QR code will take you to the registration page. Be sure to use the word mentorship for your coupon. Okay, that's really important. The coupon is good through the end of the month, the 30th, not the 31st, but the 30th. Okay, and that's it. Okay, I think I stopped my share. Yeah, there we go. So any questions to wrap it up? We're over time, but that was, any other questions or thoughts? Thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Yes, have a great evening, everybody. I'm excited for you to join us as well. This is going to be amazing. So go have a great night. And we're grateful that you joined us. And if you do have any questions, just write me personally. Veta is my assistant. She will always be gracious and help you as well if you need to write her. And then once, by the way, if you get on the site, Terry and Teresa's information is all on there, but we're going to update our emails soon so you can have all of that information. Okay, so good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.